The unusual thing about this alpha mannitine is that it's very specific for RNA polymerase. It binds to it and inhibits it. And thus what happens when, after you're exposed to it, say if you eat a mushroom, the death cap mushroom,
Yeah.
you feel ill, and it's kind of amazing. You feel ill for a little while, maybe a day, then it passes. But then 4 or 5 days later, you have 100% liver and kidney failure.
Jesus.
Gastric lavage, is of no help.
Does it just, it's like a corruption almost? It causes free radicals? Does it just destroy tissue?
It just inhibits a protein in your body that's really crucial.
Oh, for regulating?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That makes sense and sounds awful.
And what were they trying to just figure out why, or were they?
We were trying to. So I was in a lab where we were trying to grow crystals. So if you guys are familiar with Dark Side of the Moon, there's actually a whole science behind that. If you purify a protein well enough, you make a crystal. You then, instead of shining regular light at it, you shine a laser at it. The pattern, the diffraction pattern that comes off of it, you can then mathematically analyze to then determine the structure, the three-dimensional structure of the protein. It's, it works. It's pretty difficult, but the real scut work of it is purifying protein, which is
the
lab work.
Wow.
The 99% perspiration, 1% inspiration part of it, that was what end I was on.
Damn. That's intense. So, and then you're just around this crazy mushroom for hours at a time?
So we had the purified protein, and then we were trying to use the toxin to freeze it in a certain state so that it would then crystallize.
Wow. That sounds intense.
But what's it actually used for?
The toxin?
Mm-hmm.
This, you can buy it from Sigma Aldrich. It really has one purpose, and that is to inhibit RNA polymerase II. That's really its only reason
So a
you
negative
would ever
thing.
buy it. Well, yeah, and you want to do experiments, so you want to sometimes inhibit an enzyme.
Oh.
For pharmaceutical experimentation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That makes sense.
Madness.
So you just figure out ways to, in some ways, neutralize some of the negative effects of something.
Well, again, in this lab, we were trying to make these crystals.
Yeah.
And so then determine the structure.
Yeah, because you're wanting to
said
isolate
crystal.
only one part of this, not all of it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. That makes sense.
The boss was really ingenious. I was the low man on the totem pole and didn't know anything, so I was thrown in a lab. And he knew that if I, made a mistake and died, that there would be a scandal. So he actually had me do it and he talked his lieutenants into talking me to doing it on a Friday night when the entire building was abandoned. And the lieutenant, my immediate supervisor, was actually kind of a nice guy. And the safety precaution he told me was, call me after it was done.
Yeah.
He wanted to make sure I was alive.
Yeah, because if you didn't get a call...
So there's no, way to stop it? If you get it breathed in or whatever it is that...
I guess if you know what the symptoms are and you know that you've been exposed to it, then yeah, you can go to a hospital and they can pump your stomach and that sort of thing. But if you eat a mushroom out in the wild and then those symptoms pass, then you feel okay. But then about a week later, you're dead.
Yeah, because you won't know that.
It's crazy.
You won't know to go for it because it'll happen so rapidly. And then by that point, they can't do anything.
And so, do those mushrooms grow around here, or is it from?
I think they do. It's called the Amanita phalloides mushroom. Wow. They grow here and in Europe.
That's crazy.
I think you and I talked about this. There's another one called what is it? Amanita is what you said.
Amanita.
Yeah, that's the Amanita muscaria. Yeah. It's a red and white cap.
Yes, that's probably in the same family or genus. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one where it's the Mario mushroom is what people like to call it.
Right. The red with white polka dots.
Yeah, and it's got a something that causes you can go delirious if you eat it. Really, really delirious. And
so was all of Super Mario just a delirious hallucination?
It's likely.
Some guy accidentally eats it and he's just and I was jumping on these other mushrooms that were frowning at me and going down pipes.
6 hours later, they were dragging me out of a supermarket and I had assaulted a few people inside of it. Yeah, but if like when you eat them, you get these like they have. I know that they've reported they have like brain lesions, where like you'll get like it's like I don't know, cause damage to brain tissue.
I don't doubt it. It's all that stuff's probably fat soluble, so it passes the blood-brain barrier.
Yeah,
gets up in your brain.
It's craziness.
Yeah, there's I know there's a seed from this plant. It's not Morning Glory. It's Datura. And the seed, you eat it, and that also causes delirium. Now, it doesn't have any negative, long-standing effects other than potentially what kind of fucked up experience you could have on this. Because, like, from every account that I've read about it, and this is from that website, Achord, which it's like I may consider them reliable, but if there's all these stories about the same topic that are all very similar and they're all terrifying, then no. Then I don't know. I would have to be in a certain state of mind or have a set of land that I was off for a month. Because, like, you eat these, like, seeds and you completely lose who you are. Like, it's not like a trip. You don't know what you're doing.
So Bill Hicks talks about, the late great comedian Bill Hicks, like he and his buddies doing peyote out in the desert and stuff like that.
With peyote, are you still in control?
You're still you. Yeah, that's it's apparently it's a lot crazier than any, like, it's not a psychedelic, it's a delirium. And like people kind of get crazy on those. Like things can happen to where like such levels of delusion that you begin to really believe whatever your mind wants, like, lets you believe, like, just whatever's going on.
It sounds pretty dangerous.
Absolutely. But that's...
You'd have to have your...
I would want, in that kind of a setting, I would want to be out in the country, like a place where there's nobody nearby, house or otherwise, with maybe one or two friends. No one else taking, like, that.
I feel like that is a screenplay for a horror movie that you just described to me. like in your mind, you're like, oh yeah, that's how I would do this. But what I heard there was, oh yeah, and then the three friends are running through the woods being chased.
So I did find something that I am going to be doing soon, which I do have plans on getting. I'm going to be getting, hopefully, some Mimosa hostilis bark.
What is that?
Ayahuasca. The tea that you drink and you have a 6-hour trip.
So where are you going to do that at?
I'll probably do that here.
Jesus.
I'll have to wait and save it, though, for, like, I don't want him to,
hear all the wizardry.
Yeah. Hear my dog magic. Because I have to brew it, too. And brewing is 12 hours.
Jesus Christ.
At a very low temperature.
Well, you could get one of those, like, camping cookers and just cook it right down here. Get yourself a little lab going.
Yeah. But, like, everything I read, because I had an old paper from this woman who was a German, she's a German university, but she took, like, 30 people that were, like, cancer patients and that down to South America to do that. To do, like, it's like a excursion that you go on where you have, like, 2 weeks of intense tripping. Like, they set you up, you eat a very basic diet of, like, bananas and stuff like that, because apparently, like, certain complex, I don't know, certain foods will have bad interactions with it because of the way it has to go through your body. Mm-hmm. It's an MAOI.
Monoamine oxidase inhibitor.
Yeah, and it prevents certain receptors on the outside of your stomach from shedding and preventing the drug from going into your bloodstream. Mm-hmm. So you have to, like, eat a clean diet beforehand. Take it in, and apparently it's like a 6-hour trip. Now, I have had the other corollary drug. You ever heard of DMT?
Yeah, I remember you talking about it.
Yeah, now that's basically the drug, the liquid, the drink. That is that drug in crystallized form, purified.
Doesn't DMT only last like 15 minutes?
Yeah, it's short.
Is that because your body, like, gets an immunity?
It's the way the drug works in your body. It's actually a drug that's already present in your body, but your body has, like, a reserve of using it. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you're in moments of extreme, like, pain and fear, things slow down, and your heart rate begins to slow. because if you're bleeding out, it lowers your heart rate so that you don't bleed out as quickly.
Is DMT like how is that the reason why somebody will get in a car accident?
That's the reason they see the white light.
Well, but also like they'll see everything leading up to the car accident, but then like there's like this just gap of like missing memory.
I mean, for somebody who's like in an accident, I assume it's probably got to be pretty horrific. Like, meaning, I bet to them, they don't know it's a drug because they're in like agony. You know, that's what it is. It's just like it could be anything.
No, right. What I'm saying is
DMT.
Is DMT the reason though that like you'll get those like memory gaps? Like my sister got in a car accident, and she was T-boned going through a light, and she's like, I don't remember going through the light. I remember approaching the light.
That's called read-write errors on your sister's hard drive. That's called a knock. That's probably called something actually physically hit her.
Oh, and it was just
something that I'm assuming when it comes to like a lost memory, something is busted in internal storage when it was recording.
I always thought it was...
I mean, like your body experienced such a trauma that it may be in there, but it doesn't know how to properly.
I thought that your body like will try to protect you from trauma though, and
depends on the situation. I mean, do you have warning? Like you have to know physically about something for your body to have like a reaction to it. Even in like the smallest sense, we're not omnipotent. Right. Your body reacts based on feeling.
But your brain is essentially a hard drive, right?
I mean,
and it could be
you
like
could look at it like that.
Well, I mean, what little I understand about the brain is that there's short-term memory and long-term memory, and I think a lot of dreams are the brain filtering out what it's going to save for long-term memory from all the other, riffraff or whatever stuff, you get in your brain during the day.
Yeah, because apparently the brain catalogs a shitload of information during the day. Like, it sees a lot of stuff. It's just there's a lot of stuff that's not worth memory.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
You think about it, even the biggest memories of your life, the longer and longer you have from the original date, the less defined it'll be. It generally starts to slip away because, like, your body, I'm assuming that details begin to slip away, the complexity in the memory. I mean, I don't know if it's a space issue. Who knows? I don't know. Like, there's a lot of science behind that. I've never read anything so detailed about it. Like, our actual knowledge of how we structure data in our mind. Because I don't know that we figured that out yet. That was actually, remember that story idea? That was all about that. That story,
Which one?
The one I'm writing, the one I'm actually working on. I love the idea of that. Like, the idea of, like, small computers that are, like, I know the term nanites, but, like, to understand where our science would have to be able to build something that would be programmed to enhance human anatomy. You have to be pretty far out. You'd have to have a lot of knowledge, especially if it was going to expand mental capacity and speed. Because like something like that you'd have to have knowledge of how human brain and a system that was reactive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean I think we're a long way from that.
Oh, absolutely. It's a story. It's a story. I'm sorry. Whoa. Thought police
coming on Hinge.
Thought police coming on here. Who are you, Minister of Propaganda?
Start orbiting that microphone.
But yeah, that was that story I told you that spawned from like I think I talked about this. It spawned from a conversation that I had with a coworker about why I didn't like Terminator. Because just the realism of it. And based on the technology of the time that they claim that it happened. Like, it's just not possible. And even the later Terminator, like the battery cell that they had, you remember in one of the Terminator... How many?
Terminator 2?
It was actually...
The third one.
It was the third one. You know what I'm talking about. Did you ever see the third one? It's called Rise of Machines.
I saw the third one in 2003 in the theaters, but then I promptly forgot it. I remember there was a female Terminator, and that's all I remember.
Fair enough. Well, there's a scene where Arnold Schwarzenegger opens his chest, and he has these fuel cells, and I'm assuming they're nuclear, right? And apparently they have some sort of cooling system that requires no maintenance at all. And he pulls this out. He goes, "It's damaged," and he throws it behind him. And like a nuclear explosion.
It goes off like a little mini
it's like a nuclear bomb was thrown behind the car. And I saw it, I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, we have no way of designing a cell that could power probably something consistently like that doesn't require maintenance and can put that much outbound power.
It would be a battery. It wouldn't, I mean...
Well, it'd have to be nuclear if it's going to cause an explosion. Something that actually is generating. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it's going to cause an explosion, like a damaged battery wouldn't... I don't know, depending, I guess, a really, really super dense battery.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here was nothing.
Don't make a deal out of it, it's not anything. But just feel the completion of all those 80s movies that you saw where the guys were smoking grass. And that's about it.
Okay.
There you go.
Did you get to try?
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad.
No.
It's not anything, too heavy.
I mean, yeah, that's not, Queen Victoria's not going to be puffing on that blend. This is more...
It's a tasty joint. Nothing to...
give.
Yeah. Nothing that'll get the mind too unhinged.
Nothing that'll muddle the mind too much.
Oh, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I did my Overwatch placements yesterday.
Did you? Shit. Fuck, you must have put some time in placement.
I did. I went 6-4.
That's pretty good.
But guess what I ranked? 18, 60.
What? That's silver.
And Matt placed 2100, and we were the exact same. And I was a higher rank than him last season.
Well, I know Scott from our work plays Overwatch, and so does Nick, and they were wanting to play with us. And that would mean that we would have almost a full team.
I'm fascinated by that character May.
Yeah, the thickness.
Character
She's
May,
thick,
and the glasses and the little dew.
Oh yeah.
I love the way you describe it. Oh yeah, we call her the thickness. It's and when you're
a woman.
And when you're playing her, you gotta go. You're getting down with the thickness.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a fun game. It's
extremely competitive, which is I like. I love that about it.
I've put a disgusting amount of time into playing that game. I think the game itself clocks it at 180 hours. But here's the gray area.
Guess where I'm at right now.
What?
280.
Jesus Christ! So is that my path to get from 2 to 3?
I mean, I had the game for almost an entire year before you had it.
I know. Think about that, a year, and he's only got 100 more. Well, I don't know. That's about right.
100. The games only last a good rank game.
5-6 minutes.
Longer than that. That's how much it takes to get to the first point.
Okay, I don't know how long they last.
So it's an MMO, right? It's capture the flag, or you're on a team.
No, don't. Well, I guess in the base sense, God damn it, you're right. It's an MMO. God, that's the first time.
Shooter, multiple characters.
But then wouldn't all online games be MMOs?
Well, yeah, massively multiplayer online.
When I hear MMO, though,
RPG, it's a separate thing. MMO, FPS, MMO.
When I hear MMO, though, I think of waving goodbye to my family and, and bringing a fucking 2-liter down into the basement.
Yeah, and ascending into the path of whatever fucking game you're playing.
Yeah.
You ever played MMO RPG?
No.
No?
They're tremendous.
No.
Or they used to be. Before the dark times.
Before World of Warcraft was made. And people felt like there was no need to innovate.
Mm.
That's what Talon was into.
Yeah. Well, and it's an amazing...
Wow.
It was an amazing game because it took all the best parts of, the old EverQuest and really made it... You would be leveling up your character, and that's Dungeons and Dragons, all that shit. That's the whole goal. But they had this other element, which was you could just be a level 60 character, or you could go do these crazy ass dungeons and get ridiculous gear that would give you a leg up on everybody else. You could, if you were doing PvP, you'd be using this crazy raid gear that was let's see, you would have to not camp, but just run these dungeons constantly.
Yeah, you'd be grinding the same thing over and over again to try and get this stuff, because the stuff that you wanted didn't drop every time. It's just chance.
That's how I feel sometimes about Fallout 4. I mean, I feel like I'm doing the same mission over and over and over and over and over again.
You probably are.
I had to can't give it up for a while.
Fallout 4, it's a lot of go here, clear this layer, or go here and destroy. That's
like,
what I don't know.
That's why I love Overwatch. It's a competitive game, so there's no. Every game feels different. Some games people suck, and you roll all over them.
It's what I love about it is it's quick strategy. Like you have to come up with a strategy in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, well, yeah, peeping around a corner, like, how am I going to take this on? Like, right now, I got to figure this out. Because there's, like, certain characters that are meant to, like, hold areas. And, like, there's one called, like, a Bastion that's a giant machine gun. And, when you see one of those, when you're looking down the barrel of it, you got to make that decision.
He is awful. He's cancer. Because he can, like, he eats through the shield of, like, any... Like, there are tanks in the game.
Yeah, so you have to primary something like that, You got to get all the boys together, and you got to be like, we need to just punish it.
Get this thing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else is secondary in our lives other than that. That's what I love about those games, though, is because if you're people using mics, you always work together.
And while you do damage to the enemy heroes, you'll generate your ultimate. And that's like a super ability that is, if you're a healer, it's usually something to do with shields, or like Mercy has a resurrection that brings all the people that died back.
For now.
And, but so you can combo them. Like, my buddy plays a Reinhardt, which he does this big stun. And Soldier 76 has an ability that's called Tactical Visor, which it just like is a aimbot basically.
It's a headshot simulator. The gun like suctions towards people's heads.
Yeah,
it's like that. It's like that RoboCop.
So you just hold down the mouse button, and this little thing goes to anybody that you see on your screen, and just lands every shot perfectly on them. And so you can combo these abilities together and just do really fucking. I love that game. Very
that game, I've not screamed more than for that game. In good and bad moments. Shit happens, but that game, there's a lot of excitement that goes on in that game. That's why I love competitive games, but I can't. You can't have more than one.
They break you though. You gotta play a little bit of Overwatch and then get away from it.
Yeah.
Because after a while, you start kind of feeling like you want to start destroying stuff.
So that's how I feel about Hearts of Iron, that World War II simulation game. I feel like I'll get us all the way to 1945, and then I'm just like, fuck it, I'm over it. By that time, fucking Hitler's on his knees taking my cock, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna roll into Moscow right now, and I'm the U.S. Like at that point, everyone's. I love the conclusion of World War II where U.S. takes shitloads of land. Like I think on one game I took all of Italy as the United States. Like Italy was now just Rome, and it was the United States of Italy.
I mean, those kind of snap decisions have reverberations today. I mean, I was reading somewhere about how the future, like Korea, was decided in one night. There were like two colonels. Like one actually turned out to be John Foster Dulles, who I think became our Secretary of State. And somebody else who were put in the room and said, "Here, draw a border."
Yeah, put a line in there. Now look at it. That's a really big issue, and I know you can appreciate that because, like, while I'd agree that I think our military will flatten Korea, but it takes time to get everything there. Like, even being ready isn't ready. Like, we don't have an army on that border. I think we have like 40,000 people there at most.
Yeah, it's like a tripwire, so if they start killing us...
yeah, those are people that may die.
Mobilized.
Well, that's the thing, though, is if 40,000 people may die... I mean, I'm not lying to you. Like, our response time, that is not good. It depends on what he's been training these people for. Because if he's been training them for some sort of a blitzkrieg operation... They're going to lose a lot of people, but that's like a Russian kind of thing,
I mean, they think he's God.
Talking about
they worship him,
Oh, we may lose the Korean Peninsula for a brief period. I would say that there's a chance. It depends on how well fortified that border is.
Or in a best case scenario, sorry about that. I'm usually...
Oh, yeah, you're usually silent on your phone. I don't know.
Dude, yeah, I dropped the ball on that one. But that's my ringtone.
Yeah, it is.
But no, we could... in a weird random outcome, we could get a extra state for the United States.
I don't know. That would never happen. Like,
no,
out of anything in the world, like, I thought this, and I don't know if you would agree with me on that, but I thought Trump should have worked with China to have a solution where China works with us to eliminate the government, and then establishes a China.
But think about this.
Not make it a China, but...
Well, I don't think there's any love lost between the Koreans and the Chinese. I mean, they're racially different.
Yeah.
You know.
Entertain a retarded thought for a second.
What's your retarded thought?
In a weird outcome of our future, there's just a state in the middle. You have South Korea, and then you have the United States of Korea. Which would be... Actually, no, we'd call it like New Oklahoma.
Well, I would say that we would have the largest land military on that border that the United States could hold.
Well, and a Six Flags.
Six Flags over North Korea?
Yeah.
Big Six Flags over Pyongyang?
Yeah, a big Six Flags with the water park added in.
You know, now that you're saying it, I could see it. I really could. That seems like a Trump thing to do. Mm-hmm. You know, he goes, we're really going to show those Chinese for not helping us.
You put a Walmart. You have to actually... There's a Walmart.
We're going to make them just like us.
They're not, though.
They're not.
They're not. I mean, I think if you're white and you live in South Korea, there's a lot of bias, and you know, people really don't like you. You know, you're not very welcome at all.
No,
unlike Japan, where you're kind of tolerated.
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of this, you know, foreign entity, and they'll put up with you as long as there aren't too many of you.
Really, one of my clients was
saying actively sort of hated.
But one of my clients was like, they're super nice. Like, she just went there like on a trip, and she's like, they were super nice.
I've heard.
But I guess that she was a tourist. She was probably at touristy spots.
Oh, if you're living there as a white person, because I know Taka, a coworker of mine named Taka, was telling me that they are very rude to people who try to live there.
See, her son teaches English over there, and she was like,
you know what's funny about that? The government actively tries to get people to move over there. Like,
so crazy.
Well, it's differences of opinions.
But do you think also that could be the person, like, the experience? Because, you know, he's like, they love those over
that's
there.
the thing. It's like, it's perceptions are perceptions. I could say this, is that if somebody from there would say it, I would be leaning more towards that may actually be a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I trust him because he's not the one perceiving it. Like, he works in a company that deals with the Westerners, so he knows.
Right.
But, like, that would make him more apt to seeing it, you know? Because...
I wonder why, if it's just like a you're an immigrant sort of deal?
It's more of an anti-immigrant kind of a country. Some countries are just more apt to disliking... China wasn't. China, at one point, was pretty open.
Koreans are very selfish people. I mean, the Chinese, I think, by comparison, are almost philanthropic.
Yeah.
God, give a lot.
They're so crazy over there. Like, that area is so crazy. Like, if you just look at, like, not just the shit of, like, what they have going on in their cities of, like, just madness. Like, she showed me a picture of, like, all this crazy shit. And I'm like, there's, like, a vending machine for just anything. And then their bike, like, they have bike storage. You know, like, if you ride a bicycle to work.
Yeah.
You put your bike on this, like, little rack. And then you put money in, and it lowers the bike underground, and it like locks your bike in this.
That's
like,
in Japan, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't compare.
I'm just talking about Japan.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely different. Because like China's a lot different.
No. I don't think that they're like.
Yeah, Japan on the other hand, Japan's like this.
Japan is wildin'.
Japan's just a wild little country. They're very quick to adapt to a lot of new stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's because of all that nuclear fallout. It's just got everything crazy.
I mean, think about it. They are a country that has faced a reactor leak. They faced bombs being dropped.
Yeah.
Well, they've also found too, and it's funny enough, Japan has been leading and knowing more about radiation and half-lives. I mean,
do you think they do like what we do whenever that shit happens? Like, do you think they got like T-shirts that say "Never Forget" and it like has a big mushroom cloud?
Probably not.
No, I think they're trying to forget because they lost. I mean.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like they were cold-cocked and sucker-punched like we were. I mean, they were going into this thing kind of halfway expecting to win. Or at least some of them were.
Delusional. Delusional.
I think the leadership knew they were going to lose. I think people...
Well,
Yamamoto knew they were going to lose. Yamamoto knew that they
had a culture of...
trounce us for a time, but then they were going to get stopped.
They had a culture of aggression, though.
Yeah, like, Japan's always been aggressive.
Yeah. Not anymore. That's
They've been defanged. Right,
they've been really
in their constitution.
Yeah, it's not only like in their constitution, but it's like a way of life. It almost feels like for Japan now, it's just moving more and more towards. I don't know. I mean, militaries themselves haven't proven to be that effective for large countries with strong cultural populations.
Their culture of this Japan is so crazy. Have you ever watched like an anime? Ever?
Yeah,
I mean,
I have.
Have you ever seen like an anime?
Ghost in a Shell and Achord. Those are the two anime movies I've watched.
Like, and after you watch like enough animes, you start seeing like cultural things. Maybe not in all of them, because some of them are wild. Nothing about Dragon Ball Z can give you an idea of like what
what life in Japan is like.
Yeah. But some of them that are more grounded in like the reality of the everyday life, like you'll see weird things. And I'm just like, they allow so much weirder shit. Not weird, but weird compared to us. Like they have a weird incest thing that goes on inside of some of their culture. It like you start to see after enough.
I don't think women are treated, very well. I mean, I think they've got either, they're relegated to, if they're going to work, they're relegated to office jobs or nurses,
administrative,
or bank tellers or secretaries or stuff like that. And it's kosher to be on the subway with like a pornographic, comic book.
Really?
And people just ignore you.
Because there's a running gag I always see, and like I guess it's not really gags, it's not really funny, but there's always there'll be a male character in an anime, and for some reason he has this weird sexual tension with his like younger sister, and I'm always like, that's making me really uncomfortable watching this.
Do they always have those scenes set up too for it?
You're like, oh, look what happened by accident. Like,
oops, look what happened.
I came into the bathroom while you were in there. Like, look what happened by accident.
Yeah.
That happened in the Hotel New Hampshire with Jodie Foster and Rob Lowe in 1984.
You've been waiting to
brother and sister, and Jodie Foster finally relented, one night when they were in a hotel, and she called him over to her room.
Really?
And said, okay, it's now or never.
Yeah.
And, there was a scene there was a scene where Rob Lowe was racing, through the lobby in his underwear, in his boxer shorts and like t-shirt.
Wait, what's the? It's from
called the Hotel New Hampshire.
I've heard of the movie.
I thought you were talking IRL, and I was like,
I've seen it.
Jesus.
No, I feel like I've definitely seen it though.
Mm.
Speaking of, well, not really anything related, but do you know who just got out of prison?
No.
O.J. Simpson.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I thought he was good to go, or did he go there for something else?
No, he went there for something else, armed robbery.
Damn.
Oh, you don't remember hearing about that?
No.
So somebody was selling O.J. Simpson memorabilia, and O.J. Simpson demanded the items back, and the guy said no, I'm pretty sure, so he went into the guy's Vegas, like the hotel room the guy was staying at, and
he's like, I'm gonna do what OJ does best.
Yeah, they took it and just left, and then OJ served. I don't know. That's been a while. Probably, I don't know. He served like 5.
You'd think like if I was in his shoes, and you're like, I'd always just have that over me. Like, look what the fuck I got away with. Like,
yeah, life is good.
Not gonna cause any problems. Fuck the dude that's selling memorabilia. Was it like bullshit, like fake shit?
I don't know. I thought it was real.
Why wouldn't he just get a lawyer and like go?
Because he's O.J. Simpson.
And he's gotta go in there.
And I think beating the murder charge bankrupted him.
Oh, that's true. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, so he wanted his memorabilia back.
Fuck yeah.
Or his shit back. I guess it's not memorabilia when it's my shit.
Wants to pawn that stuff on eBay.
Yeah, he does. He goes, OJ's gonna sign it. But yeah, that's he just got out. Only served like 5 years though.
This bit that Dave Chappelle does on the new, he's got a 2-hour special that just came out on Netflix. And he's like, I'll never forget the first time I met O.J. Simpson. His wife came up to me. Second time he met O.J. Simpson. He's like, Yeah, and his wife came up to me and gave me a hug and was like, Dave, I love your show and I love your comedy. He goes, and I whispered in her ear, bitch, are you trying to get us both killed? And I fucking died whenever I heard that. That dude, you gotta watch that special. It is actually phenomenal.
You've told me to watch it. I just haven't watched it yet. Chappelle, did you ever watch Chappelle's show?
Only bits and pieces on YouTube. I've never... I don't get cable. I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you haven't treated yourself. You haven't... Have you ever sat down...
Movies
have you ever sat down and made yourself a good dinner and watched Chappelle's show?
I feel like when you're watching Chappelle's show, that's when you drink like a fucking bottle of cognac or something.
Bottle of Popov, more like it.
Or what's a stereotypical black guy drink? Patron?
I mean...
Is it?
Maybe.
Cognac.
Hennessy?
It's cognac?
Hennessy.
I mean...
Hennessy. That's what I was thinking of, Hennessy.
Yeah.
That always seems like
Hennessy.
Henny's always brought up in the rap music.
I think Digital Underground referenced that a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
I'm having an attack over here, an actual fit.
A powerful thirst?
Oh, my God. Actually, I am actually kind of thirsty. Like, genuinely in the back of my throat.
I know. And it's bad that all we have is beer. Because,
I mean, I'm having an attack.
How was the joint for the first, any feelings of you?
Pretty mild.
Yeah. It's really mild. But don't approach every avenue of weed with that mindset, because
with that boyish enthusiasm.
It knocked on my ass, huh?
Yeah.
You can get put in a hole sometimes. It's been a long time. Just last Sunday, I took a couple too many hits, and I was sitting there and I was like, "Holy shit, I'm fucking off the edge of the earth right now."
Yeah.
Uncomfortable in my own skin would be the best.
Traveling to the edge of the earth.
Yeah.
You wanna go smoke?
Yeah, let's play some fucking...
Maybe Heard It Through the Grapevine by CCR.
I actually have to bail you guys. I actually have a 7 a.m. car appointment tomorrow morning.
No worries.
Okay.
Thanks for coming on, though.
Thank you.
Having some laughs.
Having a giggle.
Yeah.
Where are we at here? Heard it. Take it easy, man.
You have a good night, Pat.
I am now. Oh wait, yeah, we're good.
So yeah, I saw that, and man, like, there's something so cool about it. It's a VR slide. So this guy has built a slide that the program tells it like what angle the slide's at, and the thing he's sitting on adjusts. Now, I mean, this stuff's been done before, but just the way and the manner in which it's being done with this VR headset and the slide is there. There's no like large room that you're in that has screens. Like, this thing looks, like you're going on
the slide looks like it's on God damn it, one of those hydraulic things, because they used to have a ride at the Ronnie's 20.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on this, that's hydraulics, isn't it? That's using. It was on hydraulics. It wasn't it was VR, but not like that. There was a screen.
Yeah.
And you were in a spaceship that tilted.
I'm familiar because I saw that, and that was like the old VR.
Yeah.
That was before
they did rides off it. Like, they used to have, like, think of how much more expensive this is. They had rides in Universal Studios that you like raised up into this thing, and you're on this huge you're in a roller coaster, but it doesn't move. It tilts with the press, and they had this huge curved screen in front of you, and it was a Simpsons ride. And they had one at Universal Studios that was Back to the Future, where you got in the DeLorean.
Did you get to see it?
I rode them.
Oh, you did?
It was awesome. The one you get in a DeLorean, like the car, and that's what you're belted in, and there's a screen, and the DeLorean's going through, history.
We did something like that for Jurassic Park, I think.
They had a game.
I don't remember where we were at. We were in Chicago in the Navy Pier.
Remember they used to have a game, though, they had one at Chuck E. Cheese, and it was a seat, and you had the gun, and you shot at the screen.
Yeah.
And the seat, like rumbled and tilted.
Yeah.
That wasn't very exciting.
No. This shit's like beyond anything.
Yeah, that's
I mean, there's not a whole lot of application for it, and I guess the one thing I'll say is this: is that the more I see VR, I get excited about it. But VR, like the idea of VR, makes me think that we could be coming back to another age of the arcade, because most people in their house don't have a good setup for VR. But you imagine arcades, like an actual set area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could do things with VR. You would have to have... I mean, you're talking... Someone would have to design headsets for that because you'd have to have wireless receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you really wanted to make something amazing.
I feel like we're moving there. Like,
I don't doubt that at all. Like
I can't imagine, you know... I think the first surge is going to be... the first surge is stuff like this. Simulations of like roller coasters and looking around, but how far they could actually take that with gaming and things like I always think of like, you know, one day there is going to be like an MMO like that's going to involve VR. That'll be awesome.
Yeah,
it makes me think of Sword Art Online.
Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
That's like beyond VR though.
Yeah,
like
that was like the Matrix.
Yeah, that was like you plug your whole fucking body in.
I forget how they rationalized that too. I think it had something to do with the VR interacts with your brain through your eyes, and through signals sent through your eyes simulates the pain that you feel in the game.
Oh, it's
some Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, that right. Yeah, exactly. The Ghost of Machine.
Yeah.
They can't even explain it. That's that. A lot of the sci-fi. I mean, a lot of sci-fi relies on that.
Oh yeah.
We don't need to explain it. God forbid.
I mean, you really don't, because like the rest of the idea. If the rest of the idea is good, then fuck the little explanation.
All the science I don't understand.
I have a buddy that hates that about science fiction. Like that's why he hates Star Wars because of the pew-pews in space.
That and noise in space, things like that. But I mean, Star Wars makes no attempts. Like,
and I told him that Star Wars is you're seeing the world through the perspective of the Force. That's why you can hear it.
My thought was that Star Wars doesn't make any attempt to explain the
fantasy.
science. Yeah, it's not meant to be in depth because if you're gonna like, how do the lasers work? How does all this work? How do these things actually function? Like, no one's asking that. That's the thing here. Like, if someone were to ask, their mind would be fucking blown away. Like, I don't know. When it comes to like universes that do attempt to explain things, you know what universe I think of that was the most damning? Lost.
Why?
Okay. So they had a perfectly good like alien construct or something more scientific than it's good and evil.
Yeah.
They ended with that, and it was such a missed opportunity. Like, they refused to go any further. Like, they could have said that the smoke monster was an artificial, like, an entity that was created by an alien race whose ship is embedded, and that's what causes those electromagnetic, like, craziness.
Oh, yeah, that sounds way better.
It does sound way better, and it would have resulted in a much better ending. I don't know why, like, they went away from the science fiction, and I don't know if they had a plan from the beginning. I hate to think that was their plan from the beginning, because, like, a friend of mine who...
I don't think it was. I feel like that's not a show that they had it all planned out. Like, I think they started with a concept, and that was good for a while, and then they had to go, oh, how are we going to end this shit? And then that's what they came up with.
Well, and here's the deal, though, is the one thing I could say to support the argument that they had that thought all along was the way that they filmed it. Because they did it as people stories. And if you were to think about it like, you know, this is a story about people who died, and that's the most important part of it, and that the island itself just functions as a plane of existence for that to happen. Like, you know, it's a little shitty, I guess. I don't know. They made it seem like, you know, this is just it doesn't matter what the science is behind all this shit. It's good versus evil. You know, this guy represents God, this guy represents the devil. You take your side. I don't know, the show. I was so ticked off at the ending.
They really get unhinged towards the end. Like, as I watch it, it seems like as that season starts, like, because right before that, they're dealing with this whole time travel thing, which I thought that part of the show was still really cool.
Yeah.
And then it seems like right at that last season, this gear switches, and then it's like...
becomes biblical.
Here comes all this, like, weird stuff of, like, oh, yeah, good and evil. This one chick's acting crazy.
Well, John Locke was, I think, brought back to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was not John Locke.
No longer. Now he's a smoke monster.
Spoiler alert. But
No. You don't get a spoiler alert. If you're listening to us talk about Lost, what year is it? I mean, when was Lost ended filming?
Vito still hasn't seen Lost.
Well, he can fuck himself. I mean, that's his own fucking
He's
choice.
like, he watched like the first couple episodes and he couldn't get into it, and I'm like, you got no fucking patience, my dude.
Did you look at Vito and you go, do you see yourself as Jack?
I bet he does.
I bet he does.
No, he'd be fucking Sawyer.
So,
No, he don't have that demeanor.
No.
He would be Jack.
I think I'd end up being Charlie.
Oh, Charlie.
You know, with his drug addiction.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And he found like a life.
I would have been Charlie. Yeah, if I was on a desert island, that's the first thing I would do, would be to want to do drugs.
Well, you know what pissed me off? Was that it blew my mind that Jack, a doctor, wouldn't see the medical use in all that fucking heroin. Like, they're like, we gotta dispose of it.
What, didn't they... He never knew about it.
Oh, wait, yeah, they didn't.
John Locke kept it a secret.
Neither John Locke didn't fucking say anything to Jack. That's a shitload of heroin. They could have easily... That's perfect for medical emergencies.
Yeah, but that only eases people's pain, right?
Yeah, and in certain medical emergencies where you can't improve someone's quality of life.
The island was about trials and the pain.
The pain was necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The island would allow... Fuck. But, I loved the beginning of that show. It had so much mystery around everything, you know. And
then you're like, when I started finding out about stuff, it started to suck.
Well, before they give you all the information, like whenever I first watched the show, the others always made me feel very creeped out. Before they actually before they went down with the whole story of Ben and how, you know, the old Dharma initiative, I was like super creeped out about it. Not like Stephen King creeped out.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool
especially
element to
because
the show.
The few times you saw the others early on in the show, it was like violent encounters.
Yeah, and they shoot it in a very weird way. Like the way they film that dude, the first guy, and they make him seem really strong. I don't know why they explain that. Remember, like, they show him like lifting him off the ground with one hand, but I think that's a thing too. I think they were writing...
I think he was a crashed Olympian.
Yeah.
I think that was his story.
I think a couple of things like that, though, kind of give it away that... And I don't know if this is true. I feel like they were coming up with ideas, like, on the go.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't until the next season that they humanized those other characters.
And they turned them into less of creatures.
Yeah.
Like creatures that are super strong and unrelenting.
Yeah, because I was like, this is weird ass shit. The dude's picking Charlie. I mean, Charlie's a little guy. He was in the fucking Lord of the Rings, remember?
Yeah, but he held him like a child.
Like Darth Vader.
Yeah, like a child. I thought about it.
Pick you up in your strong
I don't endorse the abuse of children.
Oh, shit. What else you got on...
What else do I have on this sheet? Well, you know, to be honest, one of these topics was about, for him, and that was going to be favorite board games. The him we're talking about is Dr. Patrick Achord. He was the other voice tonight. We failed to do introductions, but my name is Glenn, or the Bumcast.
Just Bozy, Death Chant, you know. I got a whole gaggle of new videos coming at you.
Whole gaggle. Oh, there was, I think I already told you about this when we were on call, but about those 6 ambassadors. Oh, Russia since November has had 6 ambassadors die over all their embassies.
Really?
In mysterious ways. Well, one of them was a little less mysterious. One of them, a guy was physically just shot on live television.
He fell down stairs.
Well, you saw that one. That was the one in Turkey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The other one, I think one recently, he drowned in a pool.
Really?
Yeah, and I there was one guy that...
Are they being killed by Russians, or...?
Who knows? Who knows? I wasn't suggesting international conspiracy.
Well, let's play for a little minute.
I'll
buy it.
Could be... I mean, it could be ISIS.
I feel like Russia's pretty hated by Muslims, right?
Yeah. I'd say Chechnya did a good job of that.
Why, what they do? Because are they a Christian nation, or are they, like they're
Chechnya?
not? Like, is Russia a religious nation where they're like... Because I feel like the U.S. is more like, fuck Muslims because we're Christian.
Russia is not like a polarizingly religious nation, but Russia, at least as far as I've heard, like, and seen, like, Russia...
Does the church have as much weight in the community as it does here?
I don't know if it's specifically the church. I think there's a lot of, like, their hate for gays. I think a lot of that is based in just a distaste for gays.
It's like they're conservative minus Jesus.
Yeah, I would say that, because technically they're supposed to be Orthodox Christians.
Because the so that's what they're.
Yeah, they're called Orthodox.
Because like Asian countries are weirdly conservative, but also minus the religious aspect.
I would say that.
Which is weird, because I've always thought like that was the only reason people were conservative, but.
I mean, society is what causes people to be conservative. Some societies have religion, some don't.
Yeah.
Like, you blame it, like, religion's not the sole thing. I mean, societies have methods of control. And, like, we develop them, whether it be innately or not. You know, like, we, just as people, like, you know, you get a bunch of people together, someone's going to run things. Someone's got to make sure people, you know... Yeah, you can't have society... Well, you can't have cities. You can't have... You know, roads and sewer systems and things of that cooperation.
Fuck yeah.
Like, anytime I hear people kind of act like the world would be better with, like, no government or extremely little, I think there's certain things I want the government to work on.
And plus, everything, it's within, like, without these large structures, it is within people's nature to fucking seek power.
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, it'll inevitably happen. If you shake all the shit out of the system, inevitably something will come to fill its place.
Fucking, it's fucking ebbs and flows. You know, that's why I think I love Game of Thrones. Is like,
I just watched this video that said the libertarian Game of Thrones, and it was actually pretty funny.
What I say? So it's just a bunch of people.
What?
I said, is libertarian Game of Thrones just them sitting around not getting involved?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's exactly what he says in the movie too.
Really?
It's absolutely. It's pretty funny. I mean, I got to give credit. Is that, like, there are certain parts of libertarianism I don't disagree with.
Yeah.
To a point.
Excuse me.
They're more like hardliners, where it's like we shouldn't be getting involved in anything. I'm like, I don't know about that either, because there's certain shit out there that while...
Yeah, I mean, you know, I always think that people are like, you know, we don't need to get involved, and I saw a post the other day, it's like, when I see, you know, people need to stop getting upset about the, whatever they are, the white nationalists. They're like, whenever I see hate, I respond to it with love, and that's how I fight the hate. And what I wanted to comment was, I think 6 million Jews would have seen otherwise.
That's how they responded.
It makes me think of whenever Ned Stark's talking shit to Jaime Lannister, and he's like, you know, I wasn't the only person in this room. He goes, an entire courtroom filled with lords, and he goes, and this place was silent. You know, after they burned him.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I was like, you can't fucking fight shit with love. Are you retarded? Like, that's the most generic, like, basic bitch answer I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
I fight the hate with love.
Well, that and, like, I love that the people are saying, like, I'm not for the violence caused by that. Like, people that are affiliated with Antifa or anti-fascist.
But, I mean, I feel like that's a cop-out statement. I fight that sounds like something that's a bumper sticker.
But I love when they're, like, the left, communist. And, yes, some of those people may be holding it, but, like, the group's mission statement isn't to promote leftist and Marxist ideologies. It's to protest fascist events.
Ugh.
Like, that is their sole purpose. Anybody who's like...
It's funny, though. I feel like ever since Bernie Sanders, we got that brand, communism.
Oh, my God. People are wearing it, too. They're fucking wearing that bitch out.
I feel like that we wear it.
I don't fucking wear it.
And I feel like people on the left would wear it ironically, but the people on the right definitely...
But if the people on the left wore it ironically, the people on the right would assume they're not.
Fuck yeah.
They would be like, oh, these people are wanting to break down all of society's conventions.
Yeah, what do you call himself? A socialist Democrat?
Yeah.
Democratic socialist.
But, like, here's my thought about what socialism is, because I feel like dictionaries struggle to label and define, each of these things. And I would say to me that socialism is state-run necessary industries. Healthcare, a state-run necessity.
And that's what I don't understand is, like, I've heard people say, you don't want to be, get into socialism or whatever. It's bad. But the school system is a socialist program, right?
Yeah.
And fire department.
Socialist.
Police department.
Socialist.
Mail.
Socialist.
And DMV, is that?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so these are okay, then why? Like, why doesn't Toys R Us have its own police department? The Toys R Us, the privatized police department.
The Walmart sponsored.
Yeah.
Did you pay Walmart or police check?
And they'd have the logo on the front, like NASCAR cars. So you'd be a cop, but whichever cop company you worked for, you might have a Chick-fil-A. You're the Chick-fil-A privatized police force.
The one thing I'll say is I've never heard of any libertarian say anything like that. I mean, I know what you mean because it's the slippery slope thought that, but most of the time, the things that they'll always agree on for libertarians, it's always police, firefighter, not schools, maybe, to give people choice. The libertarian argument, as it is right now, is that they will allow a public education system to exist as long as people have the ability to opt out and choose a voucher system. It's kind of a weird thing though. So a lot of these schools that they're on schools that are private schools, a lot of times the statistics they pull from them are a little questionable. They're not that much better than a regular school, at least standard private schools. There are magnet schools that some people will cherry pick. They're like schools that are meant to push certain people, certain groups, You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Certain skilled groups of people. There's a selection process.
Like schools that are for people that are just better than everyone else.
They're just better than you. And in those schools, yeah, they'll.
You're talking about little Eric's going to Juilliard next year.
Yeah,
that's fucking his school.
But some of these schools, they want them to receive checks.
I bet that kid's never smoked weed out of a fucking beer can before.
I bet he's bought it from somebody like us.
Yeah. Yeah. Your fucking kid buys drugs from people like me. Son of a bitch.
Exactly. But like when you think about it like that, I don't agree with. Because I don't know, I don't trust privatized systems. Because people like to say that we like those systems to be more efficient, but some systems become more efficient, some systems don't. It really depends on the system.
I'm not against it in the sense of like, oh, you have more money. Like, rich people have to send their kids to rich people's schools because otherwise, like, if a movie star sent their kid to a public school, they would be harassed all day. Like, oh my god, a movie star's kid. But you send them to fucking some dude's dad that owns, half of Google. And then it's not that big of a deal that he's fucking Jamie Foxx's kid or whatever. Yeah. But what I don't like about it is that school sometimes, in that very young age, I think there can be an us and them mentality that is kind of going on kind of heavy right now. We're always us and them. You ever notice that? Like it's us. We're with the police. And I'm not saying that like I'm against the police, but the people, like whenever I see something that I'm like, oh, that's fucked up, like the nurse getting arrested for not doing something illegal.
Yeah.
They're like, and I don't think anybody with half a brain would defend the cop in that situation.
I guarantee you somebody will.
Somebody will in the comments section of Facebook.
You have to look. Somebody will.
But if you ever notice, sometimes there's troll comments in those videos, and you'll go to the YouTube or the Facebook page, and the page won't have anything on it. People make Facebook pages to push counter statements on those videos.
It was because they're pussies.
Oh, I've thought about doing it just so that I could I would use a kid. I thought about making a fake Facebook page, and I would make it look like a kid that went to Fox High School around the time I went there too.
Yeah.
And I would put up like blurry pictures of me in front of the lockers from back in the past, and then like some older ones. Like I would keep updating the page so it looked like it was alive, and I would just bash like people in the comment sections, like people I knew.
Yeah.
You know, I become friends with them because people add you on Facebook. They're like, "Oh, how'd I know this guy? We must have."
I must have met him somewhere.
Yeah, and so I become friends with all the people that and then anytime I see them comment on something, then I can just full unshackled.
So
just goad them into a war.
So you want to make an account that'll get banned from these people's pages fairly quickly?
Yeah, but then I'll know I've won.
Then I'll know I've won. I do like that.
If somebody blocks you, then that means that you've got to them. That means that they don't want to have any interaction with you. Like if it'd be one thing if you just were like, hey, fucking dickhead, dick eater, and they ban you, then yeah. But if you're in an argument with somebody and they ban you, that means that like they couldn't take it. They couldn't take what you were saying.
This guy that I knew, he posted something that was like, it was like really anti-Obama, and it was, I don't know, it was not factually based. It might have been about the Iraq War. I don't remember the specifics, but I posted a rebuttal that just basically included a long list of information based on the topic and how like wrong he was to act like Obama wasn't fighting the war on terror. And then there was like a lot of anger and then unfriending and blocking. And I witnessed that and I'm like, holy shit, just no argument. Like no discussion, just anger, which I did not insult him at any point.
It is weird though, if you think about it. Because we're seeing something that people haven't really seen for a long time. And that is like, not for a long time, I guess ever. Like whenever our parents were our age, there wasn't really like a forum that you could get on and see the like Facebook kind of allows you to see the way other people kind of see the world in a very basic.
I'd say when our parents were our age, something similar was going on, minus the Facebook.
You think so? I figured.
Think about what time. Think about what era that'd have been in. Well, it depends on your parents' age, but
right. But if somebody has a view that you're like, oh, I don't agree with that, then you just don't have to see that person.
Yeah.
But like if they like, if you used to know them, you were in the high school tennis team, you can be like,
I'll grind it.
You can see, that little Jerry he was down at the fucking White Pride rally,
Yeah. Now that is one of my friends posted pictures from the White Pride rally. I might say something.
Fuck yeah.
Because like it'd be one thing to like post that you think the Confederacy it's good.
What if you got invited to a White Pride rally? But hear me out. Like, and I'm against all that shit 100%. But I'm fucking stoned, so I want to entertain a weird thought.
Okay.
Say you're sitting at home. It's Friday, and you're not into that stuff at all. But someone's like, hey, like you gotta come. You want to come to a barbecue? You go to the barbecue and you're having some drinks. You've had too much to drink, and you're eating, and then the shit kind of starts coming out. Like, then one guy shows up with a Confederate flag. He's hanging it up.
You start talking about the Zionist plot.
Yeah. It just starts coming out. And then,
I gotcha.
Next thing you know, like, there's a guy there, and like, you're like, he's got this wood, and he's putting it up, and you're like, oh, that's kind of odd. There's a cross going up.
It's a T.
Yeah, it's a lowercase T.
Time to leave.
And then next thing you know, you're there. Do you stay and finish the Budweiser, or do you take off? Do you get out of there?
I mean, I'd say I just drink and drive.
You'd be like, I can't. Yeah, because
I don't want to be
associated.
I don't want to be an accessory. Actually, I stay and film.
Oh yeah, and then
if they were like, if shit was about to happen there, I'd want to be there.
What if they were just burning a cross?
If they're just burning a cross, they're just burning a cross.
Yeah.
They can hate black people and just burn crosses, and I don't give a shit what they do.
Yeah,
I can't force them to not think like I do. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
Like that. You know who does that kind of shit? Pol Pot did that kind of shit.
Force people to think like he does?
Attempted to force people. You know what happens to those who didn't?
Huh.
They died.
Wow.
Well, and a lot of people that did, too, died. A lot of people died, actually, there.
That is weird, though. Like, do those people have a right to protest?
Them? Yeah.
They're not really protesting anything. I mean, they are. They're protesting.
I mean, shit, we allow people with Confederate flags, and those are a lot more directly related to the United States and actual rebellion and sedition against the country.
Yeah.
And we allow those fucking people out. Like, I mean, I feel like the Nazis, it's kind of like if they were waving a Russian banner, well, we didn't go to war with them. If they were waving a Vietnam flag, which most people probably couldn't even identify, but yeah, it's a blue and white one, I think, with like a star on it.
Was the Civil War, because you always see this, like, I always see recently, like, pictures, and it's like, in big letters, the Civil War, like, don't believe anybody that says the Civil War wasn't about slavery. Because I was told that it wasn't just about slavery.
I mean,
and people now see that, I think, as a way.
Okay, so there was, if I remember right, it was they might have been trying to attack that. Was it like the 3/5 compromise, or do you remember whenever they were counting people? So the House of Representatives,
yeah.
Whenever they're counting people, so let's say it's even states, slavery, non-slavery states, right? Yeah. Well, whenever they're counting people for the House of Representatives, not Senate, they count by population. Now here's the confusion. So, is a slave a person?
I mean, are you asking me?
Just, if you were in that time, would a slave be a person?
In that mindset, probably you wouldn't believe that they were
like a person with rights. You start attaching that,
weird,
but even then, because they're cattle, they're people, but they're cattle essentially. You know, they're not as documented. They are assets. They have values attached to them, but they are just assets.
It's so crazy.
And if they have kids, those are your assets. So it's like it's a thing here. So here was the big problem that they had. Was I think at the time it was like 40 or 50% of the South's labor force was slaves. Mm-hmm. So you have half the South's labor force being slaves. When they were doing their counts and drawing districts, they started realizing they were getting screwed out of districts because they had slaves that weren't being considered people. And the North was like, well, are we considering them people now? That's when the question started being arisen. If they're people, they have rights. The only voters can be only people who are residents of the district. If you're saying that, then things are going to be changing. So the confusion then became, do we call them people or not? And so they struck a compromise to avoid further tension. It was like a series of, I don't know the full details, but there was a series of political gestures that took place.
That's so weird about like a country looking at these people and nobody really doing anything about it. I mean, eventually people did something about it.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, why so many people were okay with it.
I mean, because the people before that were okay with it, and the people before that were okay with it. And guess what? The people before that were okay with it.
I mean, I wonder how they justify it, though. you know, like how do you justify some of that?
I don't know.
Craziness. Like,
see that to me, I agree. I don't know how someone could sit there and look at somebody else and say that person
belongs to me now.
Belongs to me. Like he is my property. Like I don't know. I can't. I don't have an answer for that because there's nothing there.
I mean, conquerors. I guess it probably started then because wasn't that just the way war worked? If you destroyed a country, that's just what happened to.
Depending on the person. I mean,
yeah,
it didn't always happen. It depended on the person, how much they respected you.
I mean, the further you go back, though, the more fucked up it was.
Maybe. I mean, think about it. The further you go back, there was less technology. If I'm taking slaves, like, I have to have a need for them of some kind. Mm-hmm. Do I want skilled slaves that know how to do artisan work, like making swords and working things and actually doing things, or do I want servile bitches? Yeah. You know? Or do I need soldiers? Because they had slaves that were soldiers. Slaves. I mean, they were people that were like they weren't. There was varying levels of slavery throughout history. Like not everything was always the same. It's people like to put like a clear cut, you know. And slavery is like the same slavery that blacks had in the United States. Like that's not the case.
Why would some people depend? I guess it would depend on the.
Depends on the country, depends on everything. Like there's so many variables in that because not everybody treats a slave different, the same. Some slaves are kept similarly to a paid person. Some slaves aren't. The difference is ownership. I mean, the owner still has to, like, if you own something, you have to take care of it. So, sometimes, I mean, at one point in time, that might have actually been, because think about what a serf was underneath a lord. One step above slavery.
Really?
Yeah, I mean they have really high tax.
Was a serf like a farmer?
Yeah. Lived on the Lord's land, gained the Lord's protection. Had to pay like it wasn't like taxes. It was taxes of like.
Oh yeah, and then the Lord would, if they got invaded, house everybody in the castle.
Yeah, that was your safety. Was that you had the soldiers of the Lord?
God, that has to be awful.
Yeah,
being in a castle while it's being sieged.
It had to be fucking terrible.
I would like to read about that. I bet it was the scariest and worst thing ever.
I would say that...
There's no fucking way, if I saw an army coming, I wouldn't look at a castle and be like, well, that's where I'm going to go. I'd be like, all these fucking idiots are going there. And that's where this army's going to go. I'm going to go past the castle. I'm going to go to a place where they're not going to think to kill me.
Fuck yeah. They're going to see me, they're going to be like, oh, why would I fuck with it?
Fuck yeah.
Of course, who knows? I don't know.
Of course, though, I bet you get a bunch of those knights that are all hopped up, ready for war. They fucking rape your brains out, probably.
Oh, rape you, cut you to pieces?
Like that scene
who knows?
with Greyjoy. I'm going to fuck you into the dirt.
Yeah, fuck you into the dirt.
I bet sieging a castle... I wonder if there's a good book on that, like a book about medieval warfare.
I'm sure there is. I have a book that I bought. Oh, yeah. I was really curious about the Battle of Jutland. Do you know what that was? It was like the largest naval battle in history off of the coast of Germany, and this one's about all the naval battles of World War I.
Wow.
Yeah.
God, look at the boats back then.
They were huge. They sat low in the water.
Let me see that. It looks like it looks very steampunky because you see all these like wires and like shit.
They had steam engines.
Oh my god.
I think actually that might be wrong.
You know they never did that for Battlefield 1. They never really had good navy battles. And the old Battlefield used to have good sea battles.
I thought Battlefield 1 was kind of lame, to be honest. I thought Battlefield 1 attempted...
EA knows how to make things look tremendous that are just shallow. Like, they know how to make really good models.
And I think my issue I think the game styles were like exactly like Battlefield game. Mm-hmm. Where it was supposed to be a huge battlefield where, everyone's going to be their roles. But, like, what it ends up happening is these very hectic, sporadic, like, one person fighting another person. And
yeah.
And they don't do you remember, I know you know this game, Verdun.
Yes. I never played much of it. I couldn't.
Now, Verdun was a World War I simulator about some of the worst battles of World War I, where trench warfare, there was very short advances, and it was awful advances. Like, people would throw gas into these trenches, and then you'd have to mask up, and, they would go in there and shoot people at close range. It's amazing. Like, awful, but like...
And you couldn't leave the trench because you'd get shot?
Yeah, machine gun fire. So, it was, like, very difficult to advance because there was constantly machine gun, which was a new thing developed.
Why wouldn't the two machine guns just blow each other up?
Well, think about it like this. Machine guns have an effective firing range. So...
Okay, so you just couldn't approach their...
You couldn't advance, but they couldn't advance either. Okay. The only thing that was used for breakthrough was tanks. Tanks were armored, and there was very little to stop them because development into anti-tank guns had not really gotten anywhere.
A trench gun, is that like a military grade shotgun? For like back then, is that what it was?
A trench gun.
Because isn't it a shotgun? Let me see if they got a picture of a trench gun. Or maybe that's just what it was named in the Winchester Model 1897. Model 97, M97, or trench gun. Pump action shotgun.
Oh, the 16, it looks like some fairly large...
2 magazine manufactured. Model from 19. So, 16 gauge. Let's see. Yeah, I thought maybe that I heard somewhere that it said was
looks like a pump action shotgun.
1897. I'm trying to see if they used it in World War II at all. Model 97 became the most popular. Yeah, I don't know. It looks deadly.
Well, I would say that probably yes, being as it's called a trench gun.
Yeah. Wars. Philippines, World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, Gulf War. Yeah, I feel like you'd want to have something like that.
Gulf War. That's an old war now.
Is it?
I mean, 1993, I think.
1993? Oh, Jesus.
Desert Storm.
Oh, okay.
That was we call it that. I mean,
I've never heard much about that war.
Desert Storm. Well, I don't know. That might actually be a different war. Who knows? Gulf War. That's like an odd.
There hasn't been a war in a long time, has there?
Well, no, and that's terrific.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Is it?
I mean, doesn't good shit kind of come after wars?
I mean, you're talking about scientific development?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what it takes to...
Well, because I've heard that this guy was saying, Neil deGrasse Tyson, he was saying that, he goes, the nice thing about wars, he goes, is you should see the funding the programs like NASA get.
Yeah, science and R&D get tons of money.
But he's like, they push it, which is weird that it takes that to get funding. I feel like we should just be shoveling money into these science.
We should be. I completely agree, but it's difficult for people to justify it.
I don't understand that. Like, that shit is cool. Like, this planet's fucking dead. It's
the
gone.
question, I guess a lot of it is that some of the stuff that you want to happen, like, is really long-term stuff to research.
Oh, so it's like, why give them all this money that I don't get to see?
Oh, you don't even know if it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know, like, it's pragmatism. It's like, we're not looking at ideas to solve, like that big ideas. I mean, we're talking, those are, like we need to go travel between stars.
All we need, if we can come up with self-sustaining bases, which I think there'll be, won't the base on Mars, will that be self-sustained?
That? What base?
Well, aren't they going to try to build a fucking
Who's
base?
they?
I don't
Who the fuck
know.
is this shadow group you're talking about?
Shadow group?
Yeah, I mean...
There's no shadow group. Well, yeah, it was Mars 1 a con? Or, like, what happened?
It is a con! No, I think they're still doing mock-ups and telling people it'll happen, but I don't think it will.
NASA will eventually go to Mars.
Somebody's going to go to Mars. Look, I think... You know who I think's going to go to Mars, to be honest? I think it'll probably be SpaceX.
I thought you were going to say Matt Damon.
SpaceX, and I think who will be right behind him?
NASA will be there first.
Richard Branson.
Won't they? NASA's like...
NASA may pioneer...
The government has always went before the privatization.
So, that was before space became available. So now that we can get into space, the next step is not getting us into space anymore. The next step will be designing something, engine-wise, that will be used for a permanent stellar vessel. Something that will be in space always.
Yeah, but all through history, the privatized organization always comes after the government has got there.
Could be.
Because think about it, you know.
I mean, you're making speculation here, though. Like, the thing is that there is a lot of interest in private industry right now in space. So you don't know what will happen. That's the thing. Like going across an ocean is one thing. I mean, the boats have to be designed better. You know, ship keels have to be designed in certain manners to allow them to cut through waves and cut through the water and take advantage. You know, the sails have to be designed, but like. That's not like pressure seals and radiation. I mean, that the government paid for that. The government put us on the moon. That's not really that far, though. I mean, it isn't. And it's still within the Earth's protective envelope of magnetic energy that it puts out to prevent the sun.
Why do you get more fucked up, like when you leave it?
When you leave the Earth's magnetic shield, as like a person, it can do damage to your body.
So just being out in space kills you?
Yeah.
Even in a ship?
The sun is always putting out radiation, so
like even if there's no windows, it's just coming through and fucking.
So like imagine this:
so you gotta line the ship with lead.
Yeah, with something super dense. That dense material.
But lead kills you, though. Also, doesn't it?
It can, but I mean, lead's not like lead doesn't go through things and kill you.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm sure that with enough time and research, we can develop something better than just lead.
Yeah.
Something thinner, something that has a much. See, because what we're doing is we're designing things to be tighter, smaller. So metal, that guy Bigelow Aerospace is designing carbon mesh.
That's quite a name.
Bigelow. Robert, he's had a module attached to ISS now for a year.
How's the name of Deuce Bigelow?
Robert Bigelow is his name.
And who's he work for?
He owns a company called Bigelow Aerospace.
Oh my god, I thought you were gonna say Bigelow Industries.
And he owns, actually, you might know of the other thing he owns that made him all his money. Best Super 8 motels. It's funny, I read his story and I read his like
he's gonna be going, look at us now, and as he's like walking on the deck of the ship, he's gonna be like, to think all this started with motels.
Well, he actually wants to build like quick building space stations that are safer than current space stations and that are more open for people.
Oh, that would be awesome.
They're all going to be inflatable.
Inflatable space stations?
Yeah, that are going to be protected.
How does that work?
So they're going to be protected by a carbon nanofiber. It uses carbon like diamond strength, but it uses them in such tight-knit bonds that it's like a mesh. So it'll be stronger than Kevlar.
So it doesn't break, but it's like...
It's airtight.
But, so, would it be impenetrable by, like,
debris? It is really strong. It's stronger than the materials we use.
Do they have any, like, prototypes?
They have one up there right now. They have one attached to the ISS.
How strong is it as far as, like... Could you make a nano vest that would be better than a
I'm sure that's what that's another commercial idea for it.
I'd be curious to see how well it could hold up to a bullet.
But the whole idea is that this material will be used. I think the first time they even suspected how to make the material was a guy rubbing pencil. No, that was for superconductors. It was superconductors, not carbon nanotubes.
And what was he doing?
He was he realized that the graphite in pencils, when rubbed, makes these like channels on the paper, and they said that it is a near perfect lossless conductor.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot the way that they had to do it though. These weren't like they had to use. I forgot how they described them putting it together. But the whole idea of like superconductivity is that like there's no loss, and they said that there are sometimes these magnetic eddies that form. You know, like an eddy is in water, like a swirl.
Oh,
yeah, it's like these magnetic swirls that happen that cause waste, and that's a loss of efficiency. So it's a lossless wire.
Wow,
it's nowhere near any talking point. Like they have done very fine, tiny tests on what they have now. I mean, it's not anywhere like to talk about. The carbon nanotubes are real though. They've been working with those. At least companies have been attempting to manufacture them smaller and smaller, for more fine mesh, things like that, and they want to see how strong they can make it.
So how long do you think before you start seeing this stuff, or just kind of like?
I mean, I think it's the demand that has to be there, like that, and they've tested it for a year, hasn't lost pressure.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm pretty sure it's been up there for a year.
And it
now.
is an inflatable.
Type in the website Type in Bigelow Aerospace into Google. Look at the website too. It looks BIGELOW.
Oh my God! Does he use those? I feel like he should use those. The font for like Jumbo Jet.
You'll see it. You'll see it. I think you'll actually agree it's everything you wanted. Space Industries.
Is that what it is?
Oh. Bigelow Aerospace.
Oh yeah.
When I see that, I think of that song. We were born to be alive.
Oh, is this it?
Yeah.
Is this the one that's up there?
I'm pretty sure it is.
And that is a if it wasn't in space, it would deflate.
It's pressurized.
Okay. We were born to be. Oh my God. If we don't get there first, they will. Is that China?
Yeah.
I thought we've already been to the moon.
Building something on it.
Is that?
That's what his structures are meant to be for.
Oh, that's awesome. Is this him?
Yeah.
And he got his fortune with Super 8 motels.
I'll tell you one thing about his history that's interesting. He said that the only reason he built Super 8 motels was because he came to a logical conclusion about how to make money on how to fund a space program.
What an
and he actually already has been doing things. This isn't the first thing his company's done. Apparently they've been launching satellites into space out of Kazakhstan for a long while, for quite some time now.
God, that's weird though, because I feel like launching satellites into space, like eventually it's going to get bad up there, right? Like we're going to have to take things down.
Think about if we had massive carbon nanotube like mesh nets that we could catch stuff and get it together. I see that as being. I feel like people worrying about that is like, yeah. I mean, it may be a worry for now, but we'll figure out a way. Yeah. That's a problem. That space is there's nothing there, so we can clear it up if we need to. Well, enough time and energy.
It's like isn't it like impossible to hit something like leaving the Earth? Like it would be really hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's people who claim it's dense don't realize how devoid of anything is in space. The movie Gravity was very unrealistic with that.
I know, it made it
seem how much shit, I mean, like, when people think about it, how much shit do people think is up there?
Well, I think that was just in one of the rare instances where they crossed the path of a...
Yeah. Well, I think it's because they show these pictures, and Earth is like the size of someone's fist, so they can't represent dots by the actual size of the mass. So they're represented by an actual fucking dot, which is like everyone is like a space station.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's flying shit everywhere. I mean, you imagine when you walk up, it's like when you get up there, like someone looking down at Earth would look at Coruscant. Because if it was so bad, you'd probably see more shit during the day. I mean,
that would be weird.
They make it seem like it's packed.
You just look up and see like, shit, you want another beer?
Yeah, and I kind of want to go take a piss. I mean, sure thing. Yeah. I mean,
I wonder if the idea behind that was like, we're gonna make this fucked up video and it's gonna get us YouTube famous, or he was like, you know what I've always wanted? Because like, 3 Girls 1 Cup wasn't made to get any sort of fame, I don't think.
I mean, it was made as a promotional video.
Oh, wait, really?
I thought that was actually Brazilian scat. That was scat porn.
Yeah, but promoting what?
Scat porn.
Oh, I thought you meant like a promo, like they're like showcasing
chip
like
porn.
Oh, I thought that when you say it like a promotional film, I'm thinking like, oh, it's showcasing the new Budweiser.
A promotional film. I mean, it was a short meant to promote, I thought, a greater shit-based pornographic film. Yeah, it's disgusting. It's
How do you do that without gagging? I don't understand.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's disgusting. I don't know how fetishes like that like emerge, and I don't know how people find that attractive. Out of every fetish in the world, I could say that I don't care what you like, except for that.
It's poop.
That's
Poop is just not good.
No, there's never a moment where I think, damn, it'd be really sexy if I had shit in my mouth. Like, I don't know. Like, is that what someone thinks before that happens? I don't know. Because I know somebody who would do that kind of a video has to have a very tailored, specific fetish. Either that or someone has paid them considerable sums of money. Because I wouldn't imagine somebody asking me to do something like that unless they're paying me considerable sums of money.
I'm sure there's an amount for everybody that gets them into that sort of... There's an amount that gets you into the door. People
always say, I'd never do it. You know, whatever kind of thing, you know, that we're talking about here. Are we talking about, you know, gay sex? Never do it. Never do it. Not even for $1 million? No, never do it. But then that guy walks up. He's in a very nice, but still a trench coat. And he's got a briefcase hidden in that trench coat. There's about $500,000 in mixed bills in there. And you're staring that down, and all you have to do is take dick. He's like, look, I know, I've been studying you, I've been watching you, I've been following you. He goes, I know you're straight. And my thought is that I just want to make sure that I know that I am such an authoritative figure and that people will just do it because they're financially motivated. He goes,
finances can motivate a lot.
Yeah, when you have it there in front of you. Now it's illegal because you said that money has to be taxed. But that's a lot of money.
Can they do things like that? Like, could they have a TV show, like a game show, where they like have these like 5 straight dudes come on and it's like Fear Factor? It's like Fear Factor, but you have to do like gay stuff.
No.
And they just start out small.
God, that's a tough one. That is I don't think so. I'm pretty sure
Nothing
because
involving sex. You could do it with kissing.
That's a tough thing because, like, first off, how far are we talking here?
Well, you shoot it over international waters. You film it on international.
Oh, fuck! Do whatever you want.
But could you film it on international?
Could it be aired?
Well, in the time that we live in, I mean, the internet, it's all the air you need.
That's all you need.
I mean, you could air it on one of the many streaming services.
How are you going to monetize it?
Oh, you Patreon. So
that's a smart idea. So I bet Patreon... So the interesting thing about Patreon is...
They're just paying to support you.
They're paying to support you. They're not paying for art.
No.
They're not. God willing, they shouldn't have to.
So you shoot it on international waters in a boat. You don't have to have a boat with a big deck that you can just spray down with a hose after.
Oh yeah.
Well, and so you get like these dudes, but you pick them from places that you kind of know. Like you get like a blue collar work. You get a guy, a mechanic. You get like a weightlifter.
Yeah.
You get like an ex-football player.
Here we're going to take traditionally straight men.
And you just start them out with some. Well, first you start them out with. You got to break them in a little bit, right? So the first stage is you get a trans person that can pass, and you just get them to do a little kissing.
The sexcapades.
Yeah, you just get them to do a little kissing.
Yeah. And
then once they're done with that, then you bring in the twinkie guy, who's a little bit, You
start breaking them down.
You break him in.
This is a week-long excursion.
And then at the end of the show, the mechanic's got a stick of butter up his ass.
That would be amazing. So this show would have to go over like the span of a couple weeks.
Oh
this,
yeah,
this would be
you'd shoot it for. It'd be a season.
Be homosexual boot camp.
It'd be 9 weeks.
It'd be a 9-week boot camp on a floating island fortress.
Because they live together with the people. I don't know how to say this without sounding like I don't want to put them in a group. They would live together with the gay people and like a couple like.
I love the way
they would live together with a gay a couple you get like some real twinkie dudes, but you'd also get some bears, so that they wouldn't feel so uncomfortable. You got to have a couple gay guys in there that aren't like completely blowing glitter out of their ass.
Oh yeah, no. You get the bears, you get the twinks, you get the everyday guys. The sleeper cells, the ones you can't tell from a distance.
But then you get a couple like trans people that pass to go in there first to just break the ice.
You need the spectrum here. and this will be a show that these producers. I just need to know. I need to know right now, when can we be in production?
Oh my god.
When can we? I will throw money at this project.
Oh my god.
How many months out until we're setting sail?
Fuck yeah.
And who do we need to abduct?
Well, yeah, we have to get a captain too.
Absolutely. Well, that guy will be wearing the captain's hat and only the captain's hat. We'll call him Uncle John. We'll call it Uncle John's boat.
There's a legal way to do this.
Yeah, we recruit people. You get like a couple ex-Marines.
You know, though, I feel like I've seen something like this before. So I'll tell you what I did see it on. And let's be honest here, there was a porn that I'd seen. It's a website called Broke Straight Boys. And they would go to these like very creepily watch these people sometimes. And would ask them, be like, so what you doing? Like when they met them, and they go, you want to make some money? You know, they solicit.
Yeah, they have a straight porn for that, but it's always over in like the Czech Republic.
Well,
somewhere crazy.
There's actually something in the Czech Republic for gays too,
because
called Czech Hunter.
He speaks English, but it's always so like broken. He's like, "Wow, this is really great."
And it's always, they must not have stringent laws over public nudity out there, because a lot of
it's semi-public.
It's filmed outside.
Yeah, that's
so there must not be indecency laws.
Maybe there is, but like the one that I saw, Czech Hunter is what he's called. That guy, like,
there's no way you could film a porno outside here.
Not
they
like
do, though.
That's like guerrilla warfare. Like that guy looks like he's going out there with a camera.
Oh yeah,
he's setting up like quick. He's got like a
how much of that is real though?
I would say a lot of it.
But real in the sense of they have to be actors. Like there has to be some sort of Craigslist and he's like, I'm gonna meet you at this time. Act surprised.
I remember the guy.
Maybe it is real.
I remember the Czech Hunter guy would walk up to people, solicit, and then just take them back somewhere.
The fake taxi's not real though.
No.
Because the taxi looks like it was custom built to shoot a fucking porno in it. There's like a fucking. It's like a floor. There's a floor space. And there's a drain that you just hose off the back seat, and you're good to go.
Yeah, when they're finished, when they're done, when they have to take it into the garage.
Yeah,
but yeah, that like seeing like the Czech Hunter and seeing like these people, I wonder, is there people like out there that like? So, it's not a question now. Being a huskier man, that's not something I would expect to be solicited by. But like, has that happened? Does that exist? I mean, I'm assuming it has to. I guess for like young, attractive women. Does it happen for young men? I mean,
somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere. Somebody's being asked.
Over in the Czech, I guess.
Yeah. Do you want to suck dick?
So does the Czech Hunter? That's like he gets up, and that's like his bread and butter. He just hits the streets.
Yeah, he finds these young guys out there that they look a little broke, and they need a little extra cash. And he's like, I'm just gonna suck that dick. I'm just gonna have you suck my dick.
My friend got asked that. Whenever I was in California, this girl visited me, and she came up to my buddy. She was talking to him, like my buddy was at a bar with us, and this guy approached both of them while they were talking at the bar, and he's like, "Hey, you guys want to be in a movie?" And he's like, we just kind of get going. And I wish it had been me in that conversation, because I would have been like, A, that's fucking, I mean, you're at least getting a couple $100.
Yeah.
And B, she's pretty good looking.
Pretty good looking bitch?
Lady, sir.
Yeah, pretty good looking lady.
Yeah, bitch. I like that was your... All this fucking porno talk's got you. You gotta... Damn, this joint is not staying lit. Oh, man. That's a fucking... I always think about that as like,
if it ever got super, super bad, I could always go on a crash diet and start working out and move down to Miami.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Would it be Miami? Miami, probably.
Because
it's legal in Miami, right? Or it's legal in Florida?
Prostitution?
No, you can film pornographies in Florida.
Yes.
Because a guy who will remain nameless that I used to wrestle with stumbled across him.
I think I know who we're talking about. Yeah, he stumbled across him getting his dick sucked.
Yeah.
Did he fuck a girl or was it just...
Yeah, he fucked her.
Yeah.
It was, and it was funny because his acting's so bad.
Yeah, I would question his acting ability.
And you know what? If I ever run into him, I'll have to be like, dude, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I saw your fucking,
Your art?
Yeah.
I've seen your work.
Your magnum. He had no style, though.
No.
You could tell it was his first rodeo, and because he was like, all the people were kissing on the girls except for him, and he's sitting there, and the girl's sitting over there, and everybody's kissing on girls except for him, and he goes, she looks like she could use some attention, and like gets up and walks over, and like, dude, oh my fucking god, it was funny.
Well, did you imagine somebody off screen like pointing over at her,
yeah,
to go?
And I think he was like freaking out, like, and he didn't want to say cut. He just was like, oh.
Okay. Well, you said he didn't want to say cut, and see what I perceive it as is he probably couldn't say cut because no one's gonna fucking listen to him.
Oh yeah.
You could tell they had to prompt him like a gorilla in the zoo to fucking beat his chest and get his dick sucked.
So you could if we theoretically speaking, we moved to Florida because I believe he was in Miami.
Yeah.
Whenever this happened, he needed some money. There's just a permit. Let's see how that works. Is there a porn permit? There's lawyers for it. Adult business lawyer.
I love the website. I love it.
Is that the lawyer? Actually, this is the lawyer. Right here.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Welcome. Do you need a porn business license? This is adult entertainment attorney AJ Compretta, and I get asked all the time, do I need to actually go down to my local county and get a porn business license? And again, the first question is when you do the adult industry, you've got to both comply with both state laws and federal laws. So the first question when you're going ahead and start your business is, what state are you located in? Different states have different laws related to the porn business license. It's really a geographical area. Now, we always start off with the center of porn production, Los Angeles. If you're in Los Angeles and you're going to film porn, you must have a permit. And you have to get it issued before you shoot, or you're subject to arrest for not having an actual permit. You don't need a permit, though, if you're in Los Angeles.
Can you imagine somebody reading you your Miranda rights on the set of a porn? You have the right to remain silent.
And then you go ahead and run your business and produce.
Can you imagine if you had like a studio that had like, a bed net, and you set it up to where people would come on nightly and have sex, just random people, like not...
Okay, what is it now?
You imagine if you had like a studio that was just like a filming area.
Yeah.
And you made it as a site where you wouldn't have like fixed models. You'd have couples come in. People that just wanted to have sex.
Oh yeah, you could pay them way less too.
You pay them way less. They get filmed, and that's just how the website would operate.
Oh my god!
It's like performance art.
But you'd be there to give them tips of like, and then it'd be like one of those photo shoots they get a copy after.
Of your lovemaking session.
Yeah. You get to pick from like 5 different ones. And like this one is the black and white for that vintage feel.
He goes, and optionally we can print out the comments, the chat section.
For an extra $100, we use a camera from the 70s.
Have that really grainy footage.
Yeah.
He goes, and we'll go and print your comments section on that old printer paper that used to come off with the detachable sides.
I just don't know, like, if I... Like, okay, for me as an individual, morally, I would not feel bad about being in a porno or filming porn or making a lot of money off of it. But how do you go to fucking Thanksgiving after that?
Well, you do porn. you do porn that people that you know wouldn't look at.
Yeah. Internet's a small place. Somebody's gonna find out. Though.
Eventually, it's likely.
Eventually.
It looked
especially if you're successful.
Well, because think about this: is out of all the people that you know the people that you care about, someone's going to see it, and someone's going to bring it to someone's.
But here's
attention.
the thing, though: if they see it, that means that they were looking at porn.
I mean, to think about it though, that certain friend of ours that was also that did porn. It's not like I went through the mountaintops and posted that on Facebook.
No,
it's likely that shit like that would go about especially if you don't know the person closely.
I think people start wondering where you got that new car from. How have a lot of questions. How does somebody jobless?
There's a movie that I have downloaded and I haven't watched it yet called King Cobra, and it's a movie about there was a murder. A gay male porn star murdered one of the directors, and it was about like what led to his madness.
Sorry, I got a fucking Budweiser yawns. I wonder how they make their money though, because with the way the internet is, I don't see how you could you're not selling videos to stores.
Look, you got to push the envelope. The people.
Would it be ad revenue?
Yeah. That.
Do you get ad revenue from? Hold on, because you can put your own porn on Pornhub, right? Does. Amateur earnings program. Congratulations, your account has been confirmed and you are now a verified Pornhub amateur model. You will be paid a portion of the ad revenue for any videos you upload that become featured. Oh my god, Pornhub works like YouTube. That is hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. So I bet what you do is you would go somewhere where it's legal. You basically start your own company, but then you upload to Pornhub. And if people like your content...
Yeah. You buy the videos online.
I wonder how hard it is to get your... it's hard to get a YouTube video, a lot of views. I wonder how hard it is porn. A lot of fucking people look at porn.
Yeah, a lot of people look at porn, but there's so much...
A lot of people.
There's a lot of porn.
There is a lot of porn. You got to get into those very niche things. You got to take a very niche thing in your brain that you've always wanted to see, and then make it into a reality.
I love the way you put that. Oh,
we've all been there where the video where you search and you got 9 tabs open, you're like, I need to find the Holy Grail.
The one that'll get me to bust.
Yeah, and there's that scene that you've seen one time and you're looking for it again and you can't find it.
Because these hands.
It's like Jack and the Island. We have to go back.
Yeah, but then you realize you cleared your browser. There is no going back.
Oh my god!
There is no going back, Jack.
Then that one where it was only a GIF. There wasn't even any sound.
Nothing that I can search for. Yeah, there's some shit that you just can't go back for. And I question those people that have a terabyte or more of porn. You know what, though?
That's more of an addiction, though, right?
Well, I remember a friend of mine, it was not a close friend, but a friend of mine, had 3 terabytes of porn.
Who? Well,
I'll keep them anonymous.
Okay. It's somebody that I know.
It's somebody that you don't know, probably. Even if you knew them, it'd be very much in passing. But, this exists and it's out there.
I don't even know, if I've ever seen that much porn in my life.
I don't know. I mean, video compression quality. I don't know. That's a tough thing.
Oh man, this joint's fucking. Nice.
Oh, that Viet Cong, that fucking sleeper cell at Al Qaeda weed.
I think it's done.
Yeah. Well,
I think we're about done.
Yeah,
we went deep down the rabbit holes and avenues of all that life has to offer. We've laughed.
I think we're going to end it on Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Is there actually a way to spell Boulevard, or is it just like that?
Boulevard.
Look at you, and the man with the iron brain.
We'll do this one. I think the original is a better version. Have a good night, everybody.